Welcome to Old Fashioned Finance, the podcast that mixes cocktails and high finance. I'm your host, Caleb Frankert, and I'm joined by my good friend and fellow money muddler, Jason Burnell.
Oh, I'm your friend.
Yeah.
Oh.
You just caught that, huh?
I did. Yeah. 100 and whatever episodes.
Say the thing.
Oh, Caleb, can a podcast about finance be entertaining?
Not without alcohol.
All right, let's mix it up.
Hi.
Oh, hi, friend.
Jason is trying to get over the fact that we're friends. He just realized that.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I helped you find a guitar this week, so.
Yeah. Well,
I helped you spend a lot of money. I'm sorry. Your wife
I appreciate it. She's a little.
It's okay.
I don't
We'll
want to
help you
say
make
not
more.
happy about it because she realizes it was a good deal.
Yeah.
So it was one of those kind of like, it was, I don't know. It's once in a lifetime that one of those finds its way to you, and, you know, I wasn't going to let the opportunity go by.
No.
So.
And I wasn't going to let you let the opportunity go by.
Yeah, I know. So,
yeah,
we should talk about a pay increase.
Hey,
All
what
right,
a good
so-
episode to talk about.
No.
Oh.
I think we'll do that. I think we will save that one for later.
Okay. All right. Whatever.
We
are we
just
doing?
kind of thought of a new episode while we were getting ready for this one.
Sweet.
But let's do this one justice.
Okay.
And we're going to talk about do you need a financial advisor?
Yes.
Do you? I don't know. We'll find out.
We're going to find out.
Really.
Stand by.
I keep thinking I'm going to say something profound and then I don't. So let's keep moving.
That's because you're stuck in financial
Do
advisor
I need
land.
a financial advisor? That could be the title of the episode
It
when
could
we're
be.
done.
Yeah.
Let's get down to it.
Two
Jason.
question marks.
Yes, two. And maybe an exclamation point.
Ooh.
No.
What are we drinking?
We're drinking a reverse martini.
Okay. I'm a little nervous.
Just like it sounds.
Okay.
A martini, a
Yes.
regular old martini.
Vodka?
No. Dang it. No.
Don't give me a vodka
Did
martini.
we talk about that on the podcast last time?
Someone might have told me that you
Yeah.
got served a vodka martini.
I think I talked about
even
it.
after you drew them a
3
picture.
times. I went back there and I made it myself, and it still
It was
somehow came out with vodka.
They
Anyway,
had vodka in their
maybe
gin
that's
bottles.
maybe that's why we're doing this one this week. What we've got here is the traditional martini ingredients,
Yep.
but flipped in reverse.
Ooh.
Reverse martini.
Reverse.
So, and actually, the way that I make a martini, I prefer a dirty martini. You prefer just a dry martini.
Correct.
So I made you one.
Thanks.
A reverse dry martini. I
Nice.
made myself a reverse dirty martini. The big ingredient in this one, the main ingredient, is just a complementary ingredient in a typical martini. In fact, I use so little of this. I use it as a rinse, actually. I
Oh.
just rinse my glass with it a little bit.
Okay.
Swirl it around and shake it out. But dry vermouth.
Got it.
Dry vermouth is the main ingredient. We're going to give this one its own chance to be the star of the show.
Okay, so there's more vermouth than gin?
2 ounces of dry vermouth, 1 ounce of gin.
Interesting.
So
I don't know that I've ever had a drink that way.
probably not.
It's reverse.
It's reverse.
Ooh.
So and even when you say that reverse, right? That'd be like 2 ounces of gin and a whole ounce of dry vermouth. No, I don't
Yeah.
typically do that. I might do like a quarter of an ounce.
Sure.
And like I said, sometimes I just do a rinse. When I do a dirty martini, actually, I might rinse, and then I'm using olive brine. So I didn't use that in this one. But if you like a dirty martini, 2 ounces of dry vermouth, 1 ounce of gin, and then you add your olive.
Nice. And the colors are different on these. So
Yeah,
for the
a little bit.
for the viewers that are watching,
For you, I just did a lemon peel garnish.
beautiful.
So we'll see.
I think
I-
I'm going to like this.
Not sure because I've never had a drink that the dry vermouth was the main player. But let's try it out. Let's see what we think.
We like vermouth, so it makes sense. All right.
And this is Carpano, not the Antica. It's the Carpano dry vermouth.
Correct. Ooh, it smells great.
Smells nice. Interesting.
Huh. Mine is like salty, and I don't have any brine
No,
in there.
I didn't put any brine in the mixing glass or in the shaker.
Maybe I'm just.
Go-
Hold
okay,
on.
try it
I
again.
got to read
Try it
this.
again.
Okay, that was
Because
my
I have
first.
an olive in my
that
drink
was
and
my
I didn't
first.
get salty.
That was my first taste. I don't know what that is, but it's unique, and it's coming from the. I mean, it's obviously coming from the vermouth.
Yes. So the type of vermouth you use is going to obviously make a huge difference with this one.
It's good.
Yeah, it's
do you
okay.
like
So
it?
vermouth is a fortified wine.
I
It's
think
used
that
for mixing. He's going to try just some. Here, try one of these. All right.
We have glasses everywhere. I'm just gonna
You're
try
gonna try it by
vermouth.
itself. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I
really don't get a lot of the gin
no,
in this one.
that's it. That you need to do that too.
Okay.
Sorry, I was kind of away from the mic.
Gonna try the dry vermouth by itself here.
100%. It's a winey taste. That's kind
A
of
dry wine.
Dry wine. Yeah, and I don't know. That first initial taste was, like I said, I was kind of salty.
It's got something there. Yeah, it's. I wouldn't say salty, but
there's a. It's not savory. Is not the right word.
no, it's drying.
It's dry. Yeah. I don't know. I'm not a wine guy, so I don't know what the right word is for it. But
so here's the deal.
But it's actually really pretty good.
Yeah, this is a pretty decent tasting dry vermouth. The Martini Rossi is not
as
great.
good. Yeah.
It definitely is a good condiment vermouth, right? If you're just adding it to a drink that's got a lot of other stuff going on in it. But I would say use a pretty nice vermouth if you're going to do this. Here's the nice thing with this. It is fortified wine, so we're looking at like 18% alcohol by volume. So this is a much lower proof drink in general. If you're at a party or hosting a party and maybe people are drinking circles around you, you could probably hang if you're doing a reverse martini.
Yeah,
a little bit better.
If
you're worried about getting.
It's kind of a fancy looking drink too. It looks just like
a martini.
Yeah,
yeah.
Good drink. No, I like this. You know what, that like salty kind of initial. I don't know what else to call it, so that's what I'm gonna call it. Taste.
Well, it's not salty. I'm gonna say you're wrong.
Okay, that's fine. I'm good with that.
You're tasting wrong.
Yeah,
I'm telling you.
Your brain doesn't work.
Subjective. So it's totally subjective. No, that's not it.
No, that's not it at all. No, it's gone. So like after 2 or 3 drinks, it's just not there anymore. So
there's an aftertaste with this, but it's not like it's not a bad aftertaste.
I'm gonna see what the interweb says about dry vermouth, but yeah, go ahead. You can.
Well, while you're doing that, I am going to make an announcement.
Oh,
so don't It's time.
You're finally gonna shave your head.
Yes, it's time to shave my head.
We have debated this so many times.
You know what?
I'm sorry.
Maybe that can go along with the real announcement.
Oh, okay. Maybe.
It might be time for both. We have, I believe this is episode 108.
Yes. I think you're right.
We hit 100 episodes, full momentum.
Yep.
It was kind of like, wow, we did it.
Yep.
We're here.
We were doing video, lots of like Facebook shorts, YouTube shorts, which we're still doing.
Yeah. I think we, for a long time, actually, I think once we got up over 50 episodes, we were kind of gearing up to hit 100.
Mm-hmm.
And now that we've hit 100, Jason, it feels like it's time to pull back and not do this on a weekly basis anymore.
Yeah, I mean, this is hard, and we both came to the same conclusion independently.
Yeah.
This is a lot.
And that's when you usually know, okay, probably the right decision.
Yeah, and it's we feel like we've hit a really nice high point.
Mm-hmm.
I think the message we're sharing is still really, really important to hear, but this is a lot of work, and it takes a lot of coordination, a lot of folks' time here at Blue Jay, and when you start to feel like it's less exciting, less fun, and more of a grind,
well,
like the next goal would be like to hit 200, and that seems like it would be torture.
So I think to your point here, it's not that it's a grind right now. It's not that it's not fun.
Right.
But I worry about it getting that way.
Right.
And we don't ever want to water it down. So when thinking about this and knowing that there will be an end at some point, I think we talked about it and really kind of came to the conclusion that we've covered a lot of topics.
Yep.
There's certainly no way that you're going to unearth all of the potential with a finance podcast.
No.
And certainly with cocktails, there's a lot of them out there, although sometimes it seems kind of difficult to find new cocktails to do.
Right.
But I think, before it gets stale, before we're just mailing it in and our heart's not in it, we would rather be done with it and say, okay, when we're done, we're really proud of what we did here.
Right.
I think we helped a lot of folks based off of our feedback. We've gotten a lot of new clients and all kinds of great things out of it.
Right.
But I think for us to continue doing it, what it comes down to is with our schedules and all that, is it's not going to be a weekly thing.
No.
But if we can't,
we're not
if
disappearing.
We can't follow through though on
Right.
a weekly and deliver things the way we have, then I think the answer is we just don't do it anymore.
Right. And we when we first started doing this, we realized there was like essentially a social contract.
Yes.
With our listeners, right?
Yes.
Bo, our podcast dude,
producer, Studios.
Yes, has said that, and we don't want to put that contract out there and then say, okay, we're only going to do it, whenever we feel like it.
Yeah.
And that, I think that would be a lot harder, and it's breaking the contract that we made originally, which
we don't
want to
do that.
Weekly contract, weekly podcast.
But it is a weekly contract, like you said.
Yep.
People expect it to be there on Wednesday mornings when they wake up, maybe on their way to work.
First thing you do every Wednesday. I understand.
But we see it with the downloads, right? There's a certain number of people that are obviously listening to it every week right away when it comes out. So we don't want to break that contract. And there are a lot of folks who have been with us from the very beginning. So it's kind of tough to say we're going to be done with it. I think that we could belly up to the bar and record some shorts and there's always things changing in this
more
industry.
Topical, maybe things that are like more newsworthy.
Yeah.
And that's the thing, like we still enjoy doing like what we're doing right now.
Yeah.
I think if the contract was removed and we were just doing it as, again, just as we felt like it, we probably will do it.
I think if you're subscribed to the podcast, don't unsubscribe because we might hit you with some content here once in a while from time to time.
Yep.
So
I feel like we're like cueing Sarah McLachlan right now.
I'm not sad about it. It's
remember you.
The thing is, I'm sure we'll miss it more when we're done.
Yeah.
The idea of taking a break from it, and I don't want to just take a break and say, hey, we'll come back and pick it up in a few more months. I don't think we're going to do that to that extent. But
no. And we might want to bring some other, I don't know, guest hosts.
Yeah.
We'll
see.
We've got a whole, bag of hammers here to share with you guys. So
we need to process it. In the meantime, if you're a newer listener and you've just kind of come on board, we have a whole lot of episodes to listen to. Some of them are not very good.
Right. And as always, and I mean,
some of them are really good though, I think.
I think that's like kind of a bit of the point of today too. Like we do this every day with clients. Like I just got done with an appointment where, the client cried multiple times, tears of joy, pride, sadness. I mean, what a crazy career we do, we are trusted and held in high regard in these folks' lives to the point that they can cry with us in our office and, we're helping them make decisions. And I think that is, that's not going anywhere. And in fact, I think a part of what, why this decision is being made is that is definitely a focus. My life has changed a lot over the last few years. And, I own and run the firm. And I want to make sure I'm giving my staff and our clients the best direction. And, and this podcast requires my time. And that's getting harder and harder to feel good about. So, I love all our listeners, just like I love our clients, you know, and I hope they turn to us when they have a financial need.
Absolutely. And I think you kind of hit it right there. This is a job that's not just technical in nature. There is an emotional aspect to it. We get attached to our clients. And, honestly, I went out on my lunch break and I ran errands. I went to Menards. I saw clients there. We talked. I went to the bank. I saw clients. We talked. Like we're invested, and I feel that way with the podcast as well, and with our listeners. So we're not going anywhere.
Right.
We're just not going to be here every Wednesday in the same format.
So you had a quote that you wanted to. What was the quote?
Well, it's a quote. Can you call it a quote?
You kind of made it. So yeah, made it.
Look,
end quote. Here we go.
Maybe I didn't invent this,
Franklin.
but I didn't.
23.
All good things must come to an end. all mediocre things must come to an end as well, and that's what we're talking about today.
And if you have made a mistake, cut your losses as quickly as possible.
You talking about with this podcast?
No, I'm just kidding. I was actually talking about when I hired you.
Oh, maybe I am going somewhere.
I'm just kidding.
All right, so I think a pretty good.
I was
segue.
trying to like make it not so like heavy. We're not dying.
No.
Which we knew that was going to be hard to do. So
it's just there's a lot of people that have been with us from the start, and it feels like, hey, we have a conversation every week.
And I was thinking about this too, and we had last week we had an awesome like impromptu bourbon night here at Blue Jay, and the people we've met that we would have never met almost in any other capacity because of this crazy idea of talking about finance and having a drink.
Yep.
Which has been done since the beginning, probably the advent of any kind of cocktail. But
But to record it and put it out there for everybody to listen to.
Right, exactly. And not be like totally idiotic all the time.
Yeah.
But that is invaluable. It's just been great from that regard. So really good relationships.
That makes me think of something. And the last thing I'll say, and we'll get it. We do have a finance topic.
We
today.
do, but we're kind of touching on it now.
We are. But when we first thought about doing a podcast and we were thinking about the format for it, and Bo, our producer, who does a wonderful job, Podastery Studios is awesome to work with. They've been fantastic. I would never podcast with anybody else, put it that way.
Man.
And Bo helps out at the beginning with creative development and things like that. And, we definitely talked a lot about the format. The cocktails and finance, it's such a great idea, I think. I'm glad that it wasn't like 7 episodes and out.
Yeah.
We gave it over 100 episodes. I'm really proud of it.
Me too.
Our listeners feel like a community, like our friends. And some of them show up here on Bourbon Nights, and
exactly.
So that's going to continue. But I'm glad we made a really good go of it. I'm really glad we did this. No regrets whatsoever. We're not throwing in the towel because we're we failed and we don't want to do this.
Yeah, we're giving up. It's like
Nope.
This isn't worth it.
I think we want to say before it gets to a point where we're mailing it in and it doesn't feel genuine anymore, let's complete it. We'll put it that way. Let's complete it.
So this isn't our last episode,
No.
though.
We're going to have 5 more, including this one.
Yes, so 4 more.
So 4 more after this
You're
one.
already halfway through this nonsense.
Yeah, we're more than halfway through. So we do need to get to a finance topic, but you mentioned those clients that we love so very much, that we're emotionally attached to.
Yep.
And I think it's a good segue to this one because I hear this question a lot, and the answer depends on your situation, but the question is this: do I need a financial advisor? Do I really need a financial advisor?
Mm-hmm.
Can I do this on my own? Those kind of things. And that's what we're going to talk about for the rest of the show.
The answer is yes and yes.
He's just going to say yes.
Yeah, I mean, it comes up a lot. And I think a lot of times what happens outside of there's a bit of a defense mechanism that gets turned on when someone's asking themselves that question, right? So it's like, do I need a financial advisor? Or there's kind of thinking, maybe I need some help, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, who would you ask, right? You don't go talk to a financial advisor. They're going to be like, yeah, of course you need a financial advisor. I mean, most of the time we would say that, but there's times when we don't.
Sure.
But
so your answer is not always yes, yes.
It is not always yes. That is absolutely correct.
I'll flat out say it. I wrote a blog about this a while back titled, Do I Need a Financial Advisor? And, at the beginning I said, spoiler alert, I'm a financial advisor. I get paid to manage people's money. This is not a commercial. This is not me justifying my paycheck. But really, let's think about this. And there have been times where I've told someone, no, I don't think you need to pay an advisor right now. I think you need to do this, 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 and this.
Let's get them on autopilot.
You're probably going to end up at a point in your life where you do need somebody, though.
Right, exactly.
And I think that's where some of this comes in. Does everybody always need a financial advisor? No, probably not. But when you do, and you don't have one, boy, you're going to wish you had one. So let's talk about some of that. What, in your opinion, what situation would require a financial advisor?
Ooh, that's kind of a tough one.
I ask hard questions around here, Jason.
You do. I'm gonna pick a few like low hangers because I think a financial event is like probably one of the most significant ones. This would be like a job change, and maybe it's a large purchase like buying a house.
Yeah.
You know, a buyout, retirement, windfall, inheritance, any of those things often trigger the need. And
or the realization.
The realization,
need.
yeah. Because the need is probably there. There's probably, I'm going to say, like, a lot of times, I just said autopilot. We're setting clients on like a path to like do these behaviors, start saving in an IRA, get your life insurance, get a will. You know, it's kind of like those, it's almost like the financial basic check boxes. You know, you got to fill these boxes up. And then in a few years, you're probably going to need some guidance because you've done something, like you actually stuck to the behaviors and it's meaningful now. But I think the financial event is one of the most common. And unfortunately that comes sometimes with sadness, sometimes with surprise. And that's a lot of times when clients are coming in and talking to us.
Yeah. There are plenty of times when I've told clients, no, you don't need to pay me right now. I know you want to work with us, and that's good. I like that. But a lot of times up front, there's plenty of things that we can set you up with at the beginning and say, go do X, Y, and Z.
Yep.
I'm confident in giving this away, right?
Yes. Because
I know that if you do these things, you'll be back. You'll need a financial advisor.
Exactly.
But again, if you don't need something, why pay for it? You and I are well, you just
thrifty.
You say that. I just spent a little bit on definitely a splurge.
Yeah, but that's okay.
But yeah, we're mindful about where our money goes, and so I ask myself these questions all the time. You know, I think about whenever I got into this business, and I got my licenses, and the bank said, "Okay, you're an advisor. Go advise." And I was totally shell shocked. Didn't know what to do because I would sit across from people that, in my opinion, I thought knew more about investments than I did. So why do they need me? You know, you're going, oh boy, this is intimidating. This guy's been investing on his own for all these years. Why would he need me? Well, I'll tell you why. Investments are not the only piece of the puzzle.
Absolutely not. In fact, that's like a kind of a small percentage of our focus here.
Absolutely. But I would say, you know, like anything, even if you can do it, doesn't mean you should. So one of the examples I think of is when I bought my house. I'm surprised that they approved us for our house loan when we got our house way, way back. And so because of that, you know, I always say we were like a furnace or a roof away from financial disaster. We shouldn't have been homeowners. We made it.
Same boat.
But because of that, you learn to do some things on your own, and that can be good.
Right.
However, I think about all the things that I had to fix and work on at my house, and I am not a carpenter.
No.
There are a couple things that I absolutely stay away from, electrical and plumbing, but there are other things that I think, all right, I can go to Google, I can go to YouTube, I can find out how to do this, I can do it. The problem with that is I would usually end up spending way more time, which, remember, your time is worth something. You know, when you're 20 years old and just bought a house.
Are you teaching me a lesson?
I'm talking to our listeners.
Okay, good.
Remember, your time is worth something. But, you know, at that time I thought, no, I can do this myself. My time's not worth anything.
Right.
You almost tell yourself that.
Exactly. All I have is time. You know?
And what ends up happening is, you know, you might be able to patch it up and be on your way, but eventually you're coming back probably spending more money and more time than what it would take to hire a professional. Now, if it's patching some nail holes in your wall, you're probably okay.
Yeah,
anybody can do that.
You got to figure out the things that are beneath you and which aren't. And so,
but you're probably not going to rewire your house.
I meant aren't beneath you. You should patch your own holes. It's okay to paint walls. I mean, and I think that's kind of what you're saying. You're connecting, like, set up your 401k. Like, if you need help picking
set up an emergency fund.
Set up an emergency fund. If you need help picking investments, seek out a little bit of advice. Read a little bit. You know, listen to some blogs. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Podcasts.
Listen. Watch the podcast. And
you can now. So.
Yeah, I know. It's all like universal. But anyways, I mean, it's kind of like that. The financial do-it-yourself list. You can apply and get life insurance.
Sure.
And you can make sure you have a fund set aside for a new car, a sinking fund, those kinds of things. But I do think that there's a point when those behaviors start to feel like old hat.
Yeah.
And you got something in your retirement plan that it's like, okay, I'm starting to feel like this is a little bit out of my comfort zone.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's when the financial advisor question starts coming in. But it's not the same for everybody.
Yeah. So for me, electrical work was the one where I'm like, look, I'm not touching this.
Right.
I have no business doing electrical work.
We are very different in this
whatsoever.
regard.
Yes, we are. So try to think you're the average
know.
listener.
I understand.
Right? You do all that stuff. But
it's
I
a
know
good-
I
it's a-
shouldn't be
it's a good-
touching. I
it's
shouldn't
good.
be touching electrical. Right. I knew that it was very obvious. But there are also, looking back, some things that I did that on this side of things, I'm like, man, I should not have been doing that.
Yeah.
And, I can draw some parallels. I have a client here who he retired as a teacher, or a principal, actually.
Yep.
Got his STRS, was asked to come back and work some more.
Yep.
Great pension, retired again. And, kind of a do-it-yourselfer. And I don't want to say, so we handled investments, and I would say up to that point, we're kind of investment only. Which
Right.
sometimes grinds my gears, but we got together, and from his mentality, I think it was almost like, I'm not going to bother Caleb with this because I can handle it. And we got talking, and he said, yeah, I'm going to take a plop because I've got a good
pension already.
Good pension,
Mm-hmm.
and I've already, in my mind, set aside what I need to hold back for taxes. And I'm like, whoa, hold on, cowboy. Stop the train. Something you and I talk about every day that not everybody knows about. Why don't we roll this over pre-tax to pre-tax,
Yeah,
right?
Exactly.
So there's some things that you can do it yourself that you don't even realize, actually.
Yeah, that's
you
a
go,
financial landmine.
He didn't know he needed
Right.
a financial advisor's help with that until a financial advisor said, stop.
Have you
Let's look at
considered
this. Yes, have you
XYZ?
considered these options? So there are things like that where sometimes it's not so obvious. Sometimes life event, those kinds of things, it's very obvious, but not always.
Well, and I think naturally you're going to start to figure out when your life gets a little more complicated. Again, like more children, bigger house, larger income, things like that are going to be definitely trigger points. And there's nothing wrong if you find an advisor who has the heart of a teacher. Okay. And yes, I'm stealing Dave Ramsey's line there because it's a really good one.
He has a lot of good lines.
And it's a great one. And that particular line is, this person is going to sit down with you. They're not going to judge you. They're going to try to teach you and have you leave their office in a better situation than where they were, where you were when you came in the door. And they're going to enjoy it, and you're going to enjoy it. And
I think
that
sometimes
happens all the time.
You don't know what you don't know.
Right.
So sometimes, unfortunately, we come across those situations when it's too late. They already made the mistake, right?
And let's face it, I mean, life is complicated, right? So, like, spending a lot of time researching, and I'm not saying there's a difference between trusting somebody, okay, and closing your eyes and letting whatever happen
Blind
happen.
trust versus
Yeah. I mean, you should
trust,
understand some of the basics around how financial advisors work. We've talked about this, commission.
Well, I mean, if you're working with a good advisor, they're teaching, like you said, they're teaching you and bringing you along.
And honestly, you should like them. Okay,
yes, that's important.
I mean, that's usually like
I always say, pass the beer test.
Yeah.
Do they pass the beer test? Can you sit down and have a beer with them?
Right.
That's
exactly.
important.
It is. Like, could you have a conversation with them about things unrelated to money?
Yep.
And it would be like fun, and that's
not like
really,
a doctor's appointment.
Well,
Yeah.
I know, and I just did one of those today with my mom. So I was like, it shouldn't be mechanical. It shouldn't be academic. There should be a connection there. This is going to be part of your team. And if you don't have that, then you need to walk away.
Yeah.
Okay. You and I are different. Okay. We have a lot of the same values, and we believe in many of the same things, but we're still different. Okay. I'm very direct. I'm not afraid to offend somebody.
I hate conflict.
You hate conflict. I mean, it's our personalities. But that's why there's more than one of us here.
Yeah.
There's 3 advisors here, and hopefully more in the future. And you can find the fit that makes the most sense to you, and you should take that time.
So that's important. Do you need a financial advisor? Well, if you're a fit, well, that's a great sign. I'm going to tell you, it's most likely worth paying somebody if you're a fit, if they have your best interest in mind, if they teach you along the way, and they help you avoid some of those oh crap scenarios.
Right.
before you realize it's a problem.
And we might be taking for granted some of the things, investments,
Sure.
okay, income planning,
Yeah.
tax strategy.
I would say anything with planning attached to it.
And we're going to try to lift the hood on most of those things and make sure we aren't, again, stepping on that financial landmine unbeknownst to us. But, yeah.
Well, the other thing I think, and I'll just throw this in at the end before we wrap up, would be there's also a part of this, and as a handyman yourself, building your house and doing all those things, just because you can do something doesn't mean that you want to or that you should.
I wouldn't recommend it.
So I'd put it this way. There are things that I do all day, every day.
Yep.
I get paid for that.
Mm-hmm.
Clients pay me, and I think I do a good job. There are things that you do every day, all day in your job,
right,
that I couldn't do, and I'm okay to pay you whenever I need that, right?
Exactly.
Because you got to think time is money,
Mm-hmm.
right? The time for me to research and learn and do
Education,
a mediocre job,
yeah.
those kinds of things. But even if you can do the work, you got to think about this. If we're talking about retirement planning, do you want to be your financial advisor when you're retired?
Yeah.
Do you want to be digging into all this kind of stuff, or
Spend
do you
time
value,
with your families, volunteer, the things that are really important.
If you value the advice that you're getting, don't be afraid to pay for it.
Right. Exactly. Exactly.
So,
hey, I figured out what was in that dry vermouth.
what is it?
It's the taste I'm tasting. It's oregano.
What?
And look, the internet says that's part of the flavor profile.
Well, the internet can't be wrong.
Well, it's always right. So
on that,
but
note.
it definitely is. It's definitely oregano.
Well, I guess
go
to
on
wrap
now.
it up, Jason, do I need a financial advisor? The answer, as many times, is depends.
Depends. Exactly. Contact a competent financial advisor.
Yeah, interview them first, and you'll see
Exactly.
if you need one.
I mean,
Well-
I'm better than him, but that's okay.
Interview lots of them. Well, thanks for having a drink with us this week, folks. It is time to close out the tab. If you have a question or a topic you want addressed on the Old Fashioned Finance podcast, be sure to email us at podcast@bluejfg.com.
That's the
We'd love-
email.
We'd love to hear from you. Don't forget to share the show with someone you love or just someone who needs a little money muddling themselves. You can stay up to date with the latest action by following us on Facebook. Old Fashioned Finance is brought to you by Blue Jay Financial Group. That's bluejfg.com and produced by Podastery Studios. We've been your hosts, Caleb and Jason. Cheers. Blue Jay Financial Group, LLC. Blue Jay is a registered investment advisor registered with the state of Ohio. Registration does not imply a certain level of skill or training. The presence of this advertisement on this podcast shall not be directly or indirectly interpreted as a solicitation of investment advisory services to persons of another jurisdiction unless otherwise permitted by statute. Follow-up or individualized responses to a consumer in a particular state by Blue Jay and the rendering of personalized investment advice for compensation shall not be made without first complying with jurisdiction requirements or pursuant an applicable state exemption. All verbal and written consent on this presentation is for information purposes only. Opinions expressed herein are solely those of Blue Jay unless otherwise specifically cited. Material presented is believed to be from reliable sources, and no representations are made by our firm as to other parties' informational accuracy or completeness. All information or ideas provided should be discussed in detail with an advisor, accountant, or legal counsel prior to implementation.